Good day, friends. New project on the bench. This is basically number 2 in a series of 3 necks I am repairing or fret leveling for a guy down, I believe he's in Leicestershire somewhere. But anyway, second one of 3. This is a Musikraft Stratocaster neck. Beautiful coloured woods there. Beautiful looking neck, but just like the Warmoth one I did last time, frets aren't level. And I don't know what it is with these licensed by Fender necks, but they do not fret level them before they ship them over. The guy's bought 3 of these necks, costing him just about, I bet it's costing him over £1,000 with them getting them imported and paying import tax and all that. And each one of them needs a fret level. This is no different from the last one I did, which was the Warmoth one that had, did it have 8 high frets? I don't know how many it's got because I've rubbed all the pen off, but I did do a mini video on these. I did all 3 necks together just to send to the owner of the necks. And anyway, this needs a complete fret level. So what we are going to do is we're going to get the neck as straight as we possibly can. We're going to get straight. Once that's done, we're going to go across with a fret rocker. We're going to see how many frets are high. And then we're going to level the frets. And not only we're going to level them, we're going to level them, we're going to recrown them, we're going to polish them. Once that is done, I'm going to fit this neck to my own Fender American standard Telecaster, and I'm going to set it up, and I am going to cut the nut slots as well with it all set up on my guitar. That means when Ben gets the neck, he should just be able to slip it on his own guitar, and if the setup's right at the 12th fret, same action at the 12th fret, it means the strings will be low enough, high enough not to buzz, but low enough to the 1st fret to finger correctly, not give any sharp notes in the first 2 or 3 fret areas. That's the only way I can really do that. The only way I could have done that was if he sent the bodies as well, and sending 3 guitar necks and 3 guitar bodies would have been expensive, so he's just sent me the 3 necks. So that is how we are going to get around it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to change the camera angle in a moment. We're going to get horizontal, and I'm going to go across with a fret rocker, a new one. My Stumac one arrived. These are £23, except this one was, for me, was £46, double, because I had to pay £10 postage and £14 import tax, VAT and what have you. I got it from Stumac in the USA, so that's cost me £46. I do trust this. I've checked all the edges, they are all flat. So what I'm going to do is we're going to get this neck straight. I'm going to bring the camera over, we're going to put the camera on the windowsill, we're going to have this horizontal, we're going to go across with it, we're going to check. We're going to get a not straight edge on there, make sure the neck is straight, and we're going to go across with a fret rocker. We're going to check the frets. Once that's done, we're going to get the neck all rigged up, and we are going to level these frets, and we're going to basically make the neck playable. So, see you over here in a minute. I don't think that view is too bad. So we have the neck on a piece of supported MDF. That's actually a new tool I've made, but more about that in a later video. So, 1 not straight edge, 25.5 inch scale length. What we are going to do is we're going to get this neck as straight as we can. I'm just going to remove my glasses because my close vision is fine, it's perfect. So, that neck is straight, or as straight as I can get it. I've already checked this anyway. I'm just going to take a pen light, if I can find one, just to make sure that I've got that straight as possible. A pen light, and I'm just going to check underneath these frets. Oh, and I'm happy with this. Got the tiniest amount just coming under those middle areas. Thinking if I tighten this up straight in this middle area, we're going to drop at this end. I will just go with about a 64th of a turn, a very, very tiny amount. Let's just get the it's a 4mm truss rod adjuster on this. I believed it was. It went in earlier. Is it going in now? No. There you go. Right, we are in. It goes in at a right weird angle, but I'm just going to turn that next to nothing. There you go. Just to see if we can straighten out this area, we have a tiny bit of light coming through. But I don't want these ends dropping. And that end has dropped the tiniest amount. I've got to be so precise with this. Come back the tiniest amount again. Like I say, a quarter turn on a truss rod is a huge amount. So I should never alter your truss rod by more than a quarter of a turn. Right, that is, so let's say, the tiniest bit. I'm going to go try and turn it about 128th of a turn. So let's get, right, we're in. I'm going to turn that about 3mm that was. I'm going to let it settle. We're going to call that straight. That's beautiful. It's got the tiniest little gap. So that's actually more than it was before. Let's just turn it again. You've heard the saying, measure twice, cut once. In this instance, measure 10 times if you have to. Again, I've moved that a couple of millimetres. We have to get this neck right. We're already dipping down at this end now. I can see it. I can feel it there. So back with the pen light. You're not. There's no point me doing it from behind. You're not going to see anything. But oh, that's beautiful. I'm going to consider that neck to be straight. There's no point me resting this on top of the frets because we do have high frets, so we're going to go right. Listen. You can tell that. So what we're going to do now is we can consider these to be flat or the neck to be level, straight. I'm going to get out, grab a marker pen. I'm going to grab a red one just so things stand out. I'll take my trusty fret rocker. I'm going to turn it around to face the camera because it's a Stumac one. £46, 46 English pounds. Put my glasses back on while I'm here. So let's have a look and see where we are with these frets. Yep. Fret 2 already on the far side. I can just see where some pen was marked, these were marked off. There are 2 of these, by the way. Next, there you go. There are 2 of these next. I'm going to bring the other one in a little while. I may do it after this one. I'm going to make them all up, do them both in one video. Three, not so bad. Four. Well, there's a mark the whole area where it rocks from and where it rocks to. So I know where I need to level. 5. 6. 7. 8, quite a lot of this end. So always be aware, not beware, but always be aware that when you buy a licensed fender neck from a place like Warmoth or Musikraft, check the small print because it's likely going to say the frets are going to need attention or we're going to need levelling, and factor that into the price. For a complete fret level, from me, I'm going to charge 100 quid. If I'm setting it up like I am with this, the 85 quid just for a fret level. So many, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, already got 10. 11. Wow, that was really hard on that edge. I'm going to hit that with a hammer to make sure that one is seated right. So we have 12 high frets. I'm going to show you the state of the frets by just turning the neck over, and you will see all of the red ones, I hope. Can you see where I've marked in red there? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So 12 frets with high spots. That is a lot. I'm going to check again with the fret rocker, so you can hear. That was not rocking then. I just, aha. Very slight, very high. So we have 12 high frets. Let's go again with the notched straight edge, just to make sure that the neck is straight. And yes, it is. So 12 high frets. What we're going to do is we're going to take a leveling beam. I'm going to go across with some 240 grit with a flat leveling beam, which I have here. Again, I've checked this with a Veritas straight precision straight edge. I've noticed that this edge is not straight. Or as not straight as it ought to be, even though this was ground flat. I paid a lot of money for this about 5 years ago, but this edge is perfectly straight. But it's got some 240 grit on there. I will be going with that 240 grit just to remove the main material. Once that is done, I will be re-radiusing with this. I will have some 400 grit on there, which I'll fix later. So we're going to be leveling with this, zit, 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 and we're going to be re-radiusing with this, zit, 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 zit. So I need to get this set up. I'll show you how to set that up in a little while. So that is the first one. I'm going to write down a key. And by a key, I mean I'm going to explain exactly what I am doing with this neck. So the way I look at it, I'm looking at it from this way, and there are 5 specific areas that I count for marking up a fret. 1, 2, 3 in the centre, 4, 5 at the far side. So 1 near side, 2 between that and the middle, 3 in the middle, between the middle and the far side is 4, that side 5, and I'll mark these accordingly. Sometimes I'll just do it 1, 2, 3. So you've got 1 this side, 2 in the middle, 3 on the far side. For ease of reference on this one, I'm going to do it 1, 2, 3, but I could go all 5. And what I'll do is, this is fret 2 for instance, I'm going to mark area 1, 2, 3, or in real terms 4 and 5. So fret 2, area 3 is a bit that's high. Fret 4, areas 1 and 2. Fret 8, area 3, and 10 areas, well basically the whole lot, but certainly a big 2. Fret 11, area 1, 12, 3 and 1, 13, 2, you get the idea, 14, 1 and 3, 15, 2, 16, 2 and 3, 17, 2, 18, 19, 20, 21, 2 and 3. So I will write those down accordingly. I'll write down Strat, so it's Musikraft Strat. And I'll write down the fret numbers. 2 for the fret, 3 for the area, 4 areas, 2 and 3, you'll get this, 5, 6, 7, 8 areas, 3, 10 areas, 2, 11 areas, 1, 12 areas, 1 and 3, 13 areas, 2, 14, 1 and 3. You'll get this at work, right? 15, 2, 16, 2 and 3, 17, 3, 21, 2 and 3. So there you go. Top line is fret numbers. For instance, fret 2, area 3, fret 4, areas 2 and 3, fret 8, areas 3, fret 10, areas 2, fret 11, areas 1. You get exactly how it works. That is a map or a key for my reference. I know exactly what that means. And if this pen happens to rub off, right, I have the map right there. So I'm going to get rid of that one. I'm going to fetch the other neck. I'm going to unwrap it. I'm going to get it all straight. I'm going to do exactly the same with the other neck. I'm going to make this a 2-in-1 video. I was going to do one each, but I'm not. I'm going to do both Musikraft necks in one, as well as leveling the frets, by the way, and making my neck playable and cutting the knot. I need to fit tuners, and my tuners don't fit these holes. These holes aren't big enough, so I'm going to have to ream these holes out as well. More about that later on. But I'm going to unwrap the next neck, which is in another packet, offshore. It's not offshore, it's just on the other side of the guitar. So here it is. This will be a Telecaster neck, all wrapped up by me. And there you go. And here's the other one. And this again, Musikraft. Can you see it there? It's a Telecaster one. I'm going to do exactly the same with this. So I'm going to get it all set up, get it all levelled, and I'll mark the frets up, and we'll do exactly the same as I've just done with that one. So give me a few minutes to get it set up. Once it is set up, I'm going to bring you back in, and we're going to mark this one up ready. We're going to do both these next. We're not doing, well, I might as well do them both together. You'll notice with this one, it wants a nut fitting as well. There's no nut fitted. Now Ben did send me a nut. Sent me a tusk nut. Blah 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 blah. There it is. So I'm going to be fitting that. I don't think I'm charging him for fitting this. I didn't quote it in the price anyway. But anyway, that will be having that knot on there. So give me 5-10 minutes to get this straight, and we'll come back. We'll do exactly the same with this neck as we've just done with the other one. Now this second one, the Telecaster neck, will be slightly easier than the first one because there's no knot installed. It means I can level these a lot easier. The odd thing about this though is the Allen wrench size on the Strat one is a 4mm metric, but on this one, the Telecaster one, it's a regular 1/8 regular Fender one, and that's kind of good news. But I've got 3 different necks in with 3 different size Allen keys or truss rod adjusters. Just adjusting this one, getting this right. Very, very tiny match. We do have a tiny bit of a gap at the end there, that may be a bit of runoff here. That to me is straight. I'm going to do the same thing again with the pen. Have a look underneath and see what I can see. Nothing there, nothing there, nothing there. Could see a little bit at the end. Nothing along here. Okay. Starting to see a little bit here. So we've got a tiny, tiny bit of back bow. So what we're going to do is we're going to slacken off the knot again. Hardly anything. So there we are. I'm just going to go back a centimetre. I didn't even go a centimetre there. Let's have a look. And that has altered things dramatically. Let's have a look, see where we are. Make sure we're not got anything twisted. Right down the centre. Okay, that looks well, very good. So we're straight at the edges, back with the light pen. Tiniest bit of light at those ends. Nothing at all in the middle. Tiny bit there, nothing there, nothing there. So I am saying we've got a tiny little bit again at the ends. I would still say we've got a tiny bit of back bow in there. Am I going the right way? I think I am. Check again. We want as little light along the whole length as we can. Right, that's tightened up that end, but we'll get a little tiny bit, and now we've got a tiny bit in the middle now where we didn't have any before. Let's go in there. Right, I need to turn this. I probably need to go 1 millimetre toward me, tighten up again. There you go. That should be fine. Very, very tiny amount. I think this is going to be as good as we can get it. Nothing, 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 nothing. Right, my friends, this is a straight neck. It's beautiful. Got a tiny, tiny bit there, but nothing here again. Now, I've explained this many times before. You never get a perfectly straight neck. Tiny, tiny bits at that end. They always seem to go up and down just a tiny bit, but only that much. A very, very small amount. I'm just going to check this end again, and if I'm happy with it, as it is, I'm not happy with it at all. Don't know which way to go now. I'll just slacken off just a little bit. That's probably a bit much. That'll probably be fine there. All this claptrap about letting it settle overnight is rubbish. It's seconds. And again, we've got a little bit of that end now, so need to tighten up again already. So I'm going to go back to where I just was, and we're going to call it quits there. That should be it. I'll tell you for why. If we've got a little bit of fall off at this end, that's absolutely fine. We like that. Goes in the middle there. Are you enjoying this as much as I am? Just shows you my job, right? No gap, nothing there at all. There's a tiny, tiny bit, and then it goes again. Tiny bit. Nothing at this end at all, so there's a tiny bit in the middle. I'm going to tighten up again. Going to go another millimetre if I can. There you go. Just one little click till I get to where I want to be. You see how meticulous you have to be with this. No gap, nothing. Tiny bit of light there. Certainly more than I was getting before. Maybe I'm going the wrong way. Going to go right back, see where we are. Certainly got some relief in there now, so we're going to tighten again. That was great. Sometimes you just have to do that. You just go off and on again. No light under there. Tiny bit there. None there. None there. Tiniest bit there. Right. That to me, I'm going to go 1 mil again. Maybe I could have stayed exactly there. I'm just going to go one more turn, just see where we are. Makes all the difference, that one turn. Right, friends, I think we are there. That is what I'm going to call a straight neck. There's no gaps under there. And that is where we are. So, okay, with the fret rocker, one of these had 11 high spots, one of them had 8 when I first measured them, but that wasn't a precision measure. Now I have a precision tool. This may give us a different reading. Oh, by the way, I just need to mention that these edges are rolled over on this one. No sharp edges at all, as they were with the Warmoth. These aren't rolled over on this one either. It's just the Telecaster one that's rolled over. Anyway, still feel fine to me. So let's go across, marker pen. I've got my map there. We'll put down, I'm going to find my pen. Musikraft Tele. Just Switch it over. Stick that out of the way. So let's go. I'll mark them off with pen first. Wow. Three out of the first four are high. We're going to have more than 8 on this, I'll tell you that for nothing. Wow, so it's 4 out of 5. Five out of 6. Six out of 7. See what I mean? Spending £300 on a neck. Oh my goodness, so high all the way across this one. That is already 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 out of 8 high frets. Seven out of 9. Oh, another one. So, are you getting your money's worth paying £300 for a neck and getting more than half the frets rocking or uneven? No, you're certainly not getting your money's worth. These should be plecked because these are atrocious. So Musikraft, if you get to watch this video, you really need to be levelling these frets before you set them out. £300, $400 for a neck, for a guitar neck. I've already got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 out of 12 frets are high. Be warned, kids. Astonishing. Wow, it's amazing. None of these frets are level. Luckily, unfortunately, this will be the easiest one to level because there's no knot. So I haven't got to work around the knot. I'm not removing the knot on the other one. I do have a workaround. But these frets are terrible. £300 for this neck. 300 British pounds. And you've got to pay me 100 quid to sort it out. That's £400 this next cost. That's not including postage and import tax. Right, fantastic. So here you go. Let's count them. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15 frets out of 22 with high spots. Marked up in red pen. Hopefully you can see that. So again, let's just take the not straight edge, where I remember where I hit it, just to make sure that the neck is level. Beautiful. One more time, let's go again with the fret rocker. Just do my fret mocker, yeah, okay. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15 high spots over, well, 15 high frets. I'm going to take my little map as I shown earlier and we'll mark down the frets. Fret 2, area 1, fret 3, area 2, fret 4, areas 1 and 3, 5, area 2, 6, area 1, 7, area 3, 8, all areas, so I'll mark that with an X, 9, 10, area 1, 12, 1 and 3, 13, 2, 14, 1, 15, 3, 17, 1 and 3, 18, 1, 19, 20, 21, 3. So there you go, there's my little map with the fret and the corresponding area that is high. Fret 2, area 1, fret 3, area 2, and blah de blah de blah. So that's for the Telecaster, that's for the Strat. So as you can see, Telecaster, all those frets need leveling. Sorry, the Stratocaster, Strat 1, all those frets need leveling. Then we need to install the tuners. This one we need to level the frets, recrown and polish, same as that one. Install the tuners and fit a nut. I should be charging another 30 odd quid for fitting that nut, but I've decided not to because there's having so much done. So there you go, 2 Musikraft necks, one with 15 high frets out of 22. The other one has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 out of 22. Do you want to be paying £300 for these necks and having to do all that much work on there? I think not. Anyway, so let's just move on a little. This is the one I'm going to be doing first, the most difficult one, because I'm leaving the nut installed. But I'll get around the nut. What I do is I've built a ramp from tape. It's that thick one end, and it's that thin the other, and that will sit here. It'll sit on the nut, and what I'll do is when the fret, leveler comes up, it'll slide up this area and go over the nut. It's not quite high enough yet. I'm going to build it up, make it higher. In fact, I'm going to build up underneath the nut itself, or next to the nut itself. What I will do is I will just be grabbing some tape like thus, and I will just basically ramp up a couple of pieces of tape under there like so, and probably a couple more. Just grab some. In fact, I'll do it right now on camera. It doesn't have to be, I don't have to make a federal case of anything. Just take some more Scotch 3M tape. About 4 layers should do. So what I'm going to do is add that to there, and that to there, and that should now give me more than enough clearance. Let's see how we are. Still not quite high enough. We'll have another 2 bits on there. What I don't want to do is I don't want to get it too high at this side where it becomes higher than the fret, because then we're defeating the object. Because what we need to do is we still need to be hitting this fret with the leveling beam, which we will be. So there you go, that's there. Oh, look at that. That is now right up to the top of the nut. So when we come across with the leveling beam like so, it'll do the last fret, and once it's done that, it'll go up and over the nut, which is fantastic. To make sure it goes up and over the nut, we'll take another piece of tape and we'll tape that there over the nut, and there you go. And that protects the nut. It means I can level all of the frets with the nut intact. How good is that? Hey, how good is that, kids? So, just a matter of, I will be affixing this neck to a piece of MDF similar to this, probably a bit thicker, using that as a holder, and I'll come and level all of these. That will be for the next part of a video, which is likely not going to be today, because I've got a pool match tonight. I need to go and get changed, need to get ready, I need to pick some people up, blah 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 blah. If I do happen to get any of this done today, I will come back and give you an update, and you can watch that being done. But anyway, that's an introduction to these 2 necks, 2 Musikraft necks with totally uneven frets. We need to get them all levelled up and get them all ready for going straight on to build. Someone's going to build some guitars. Little snippet is just to show how I prepare for levelling, and everyone knows that I like to bolt a neck to a piece of 30mm MDF using Well, I'm using actually the neck bracket off my plate and screws off my own American Fender American Standard Telecaster. And what I've done in this instance is I've packed up underneath with a couple of shims. I've shimmed it. Well, it was about 6 pieces thick of cord, and the reason I do that is if I bolt straight to the wood, sometimes it bends the neck one way or the other, and then you don't get a straight level neck. Now, in doing what I've done here, the neck is still as straight as I set it when I did the fret rocker check. So we still have that same amount of straightness, but you'll now notice, or the keen-eyed among you will notice, that now this bit is floating. And what we do is that just to maintain that level, all I'm going to do on that side to stop it moving up and down is just place some of my own business cards underneath. And that will help. We're not going to move the neck, but now it gives us a solid base to do the actual fret leveling, like so. I've not forgotten the neck shim I've made. I've actually added a piece underneath so it's as thick as I need it to be. And the neck shim will work, or the nut shim will work just like that, with this piece on top. When we come across and level, we're going to get all of the frets, and then it's just going to slide over the nut. So we're going to get the level, maintain the level across the whole length of the neck, but we're not going to knock the nut off, or we're not going to damage the nut. So that is how I set up for leveling. Simple little things, simple little jig there that is going to save you messing about. It saves me having to put this on the Stumac type neck jig I built a couple of years ago. And now this is ready for fret leveling tomorrow. So that is going to be a job for tomorrow. I'm knocking off now. It is about 10 minutes to 4. I was only working till 4 o'clock today anyway. It's Thursday evening. I have a pool match tonight, first match of the winter season. So I'm going to go and get ready for that, get a bath, get some smart clothes on, and I'm going to go out with my friends and we're going to have a pool match, and we are going to win. So check back tomorrow and we'll start getting these necks sorted. Okay, we're now going to prep the 9.5 inch radius beam for sanding. And what we're going to do is we're going to tape up the ends, both ends. I'll show you why we do that in a minute. Let's take a piece, tape over the end there. What we're going to do is we're going to take some white spirit. We're just going to clean down, make sure there's no residue or crap on there. There was, but there isn't anymore. Like so. Wipe off any wet residue, and we're going to cover this in masking tape. Oh, we're done with that lid. Never mind. I'll have a lid in a minute. In fact, I'm not going to use this. I'm going to use the 1 inch stuff, because the 1 inch stuff I'll only need 3 bits. The reason I tape the ends up like that is so I can remove the tape easily later once the sandpaper is spent. You may find it just bends a little bit, this stuff, when you put it on, so let's straighten it out. Over the edges like so. And we don't have to create a seamless seal. We can just get within 1/3 of a millimetre or something along the line. Just make sure you don't overlap, because we need to maintain a radius. Like so, radius maintained. When you get to the end, just tear off like so, fold down and over. Excess, just remove. You don't need it again in the way of anything. Top to the light through it, sort that out. And then we're going to go with, there you go, beautiful smooth finish. Then we're going to go with double-sided sticky tape, and we're just going to, again, over the top. This is so we can stick some sandpaper to the surface. I buy sandpaper in a roll. Again, just inside. No overlap. The most important thing is do not overlap anything. On this particular beam, I'm going to be going with 400 grit because I'm going to be levelling with 240 grit on the flat beam and a radius with 400 grit on the radius beam. I'm going to get myself another set of these radius beams, and one set I'm going to use for sanding and the other set I'm going to use for clamping. So once I've got the 1/4 to be able to do that, it's exactly what I'm going to do. So, double-sided sticky tape. I'm not bothered about this being folded over just yet. We're just going to get that all on there nice and flat. And I'm going to prep myself a piece of sandpaper to fit on here. So once I've done that, I'm going to come back, we're going to peel this off. We're going to get the sandpaper on there, and I'm going to show you how we finish that little thing off. The length cut off, just a matter of lining up one edge. It hasn't got this spot on. Here we go. Taping down one edge, we're going to cut, because this strip we can use on a levelling beam later. Just tamper it down. This is why I have the padded gubbins there. Right, what I'm going to do with this side is take a Stanley blade, straight down the side, and there you go, perfect. We have a levelling beam. Or a radius beam. And then we have a radius beam, 400 grit paper on there, exactly what we need for finishing off later. I'm going to get them levelled with this one. I'm going to re-radius them with that one. It really is that simple. Okay guys, change the angle again. This one is done. This is a Stratocaster one. So I'll show you where we are. This worked extremely well. And what I did was, I first went across and levelled with the 240 grit on the flat beam. Finished off with the 400 grit on the radius beam. And we're just going to go across, well, we're going to check the height first with the notched straight edge. A beautifully straight neck. I've already been across these, I know they're fine, but let's have a look. The most work we had to do was down this end. I still have the little key or the map I made yesterday. Some I did have to go out with a file because they were being a little bit stubborn, especially around this end, from frets 12, 13 onwards. But look at these now, they are all level. And this neck is ready crowning and polishing. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to swap necks over now. I'm going to go and level the second one. This is the strap one. I'm going to move on to the Telecaster neck in a minute. And that is beautiful. Frets are level. Just check with a not straight edge. We'll put the not straight edge on, then we'll move it onto the top of the frets, and we just look for gaps. And there are no gaps. And I expect there to be no gaps. So yeah, fantastic that I can now trust my tools. Really pleased about that. And I'm going to move on to the next one. Get that done, and what we're going to do is we're going to work both together. We're going to take this off of MDF, we're going to put the other one on there, we're going to get the other one sorted, then we're going to take them, we're going to get them all, both of them taped up, we're going to crown both, then we're going to take both over to the polishing table, just to show that this is a strap one. There you go. This is the one that's having the vintage tuners. I've got to ream these holes just about 0.2 of the millimetre wider, but just slightly narrow. Back soon. Moving on to the Musikraft Telecaster neck. We have it shimmed both ends, shimmed this end, some business cards under this end just to hold it level. But always check that we have the neck straight before we sand anything. Measure twice, cut once, actually measure 10 times and cut once. Just press down on this end, make sure we're still level. That's fine. We have the map or the key to check which frets are high. I'm going to leave that right there, hopefully you can see it. Hopefully it'll stay stood up like so. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to go across the frets with a fret rocker. And fret 2, area 1. Fret 3, areas 2 is it? Area 1's fine. Fret 4, can't see from here, 1 and 3. 2's good. 3, fret 5, area 2 in the middle. There you go. Fret 6, don't know. Fret 6 says area 1. I'm not even looking at the map. Fret 6, area 1. Yeah. Fret 7, area 3. Fret 8 says everywhere. Yep. 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 All over fret 9. Can't see nothing wrong there. Fret 10. Area 1, bit in area 2, area 3 is fine, fret 11 seems fine, fret 12, definitely area 1. So this corroborates with what is on there. I'm just going to go across now, rush through 13, area 2, 14, definitely area 1, 15 looks like area 3. All I can see there. Probably, I don't think that one's marked off. Just scooting through. I forgot what number I'm on now. So that number 17, number, was that 16, 17, 18? 18 area 1. '21, definitely number 3. And that's about it. Does that corroborate with that? It pretty much does, more or less. That's the map made yesterday, so we are tickety-boo on what it's telling us. Again, don't go on that as 24 1/4 side, that's for Gibson, that goes on that way so I can read it. This is a 25 1/2 side, roll it over, that'll go upside down, and this is a 25 1/2 inch scale length. One more check. We're pretty good there. So, straight across with the levelling beam. Well, this one's going to be easier because we have no nut to contend with, so I could just go straight across. Now, a couple of ways, a little bit different. This is a pre-radius board, it's the same radius along the whole length, so what we do is, when we file, we go in straight lines, so we don't follow the edge of the neck, we go in a straight line, so we overlap coming down here, we overlap coming there and come into the top there, so we're following the radius. We always keep this perfectly horizontal, not with the neck but with the flow of the radius. If we were doing a compound radius we would follow the edge of the neck, So just a little bit to explain there. But anyway, you can already see that these frets are being levelled out. I'm going to let this, I'm not pressing down, I'm just going to let this levelling beam do the work. I may need to come across with a file. Now we've done so much, we're going to brush it off. You see there. I normally have these taped up, but I've not taped it up just to show you that the file is working. And the sanding beam is working. And we are having a look. It's pretty good. Now I will take my key and have a look. Still high there. Yeah, we've got a long ways to go yet. Let's not even consider wrapping up yet. Let the beam do the work. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to pen all the frets up. I'm going to go with green today. Hopefully I'm not going to slip, otherwise we will mark the board. We do not want to mark the board. Nice and steady is why I work left to right, because I'm being right-handed. I do have a pretty steady hand. But you can see where we are with these. Nice and steady, take your time. Don't get colour in the fingerboard. Using frets further along as a guide. When it comes to this one I have no guide, so I just use the edge of the neck. And there you go. All penned in. Won't hurt to clean the beam. It will brush off. Oh, that's a nice glide. A nice glide says to me that things are being levelled. One other thing, I get to see how thick the lines are on top of the fret, so I have a good idea of when the frets are level, and that is bringing us very close. I'm just tempted to brush some off, and I'm not going to brush anything off. And there you go, all silver topped. So let's take the fret rocker. We can ignore the map or the key at the moment. We're just going to go across. We're pretty much where we need to be, I think. It really, it really gives you peace knowing that you can now trust your tools. I never doubted for a second my tools that failed me last month, and you don't. And I think these are looking pretty much level. The levelling doesn't take long. The crowning doesn't take long. Not now I've got the new StuMac Z file. The polishing is the thing that takes time. But yeah, look at this. Very, very happy with these. That one's high on this edge. Number 21 area 3. I had it exactly the same on the strap neck of this. It's almost like these have been put in by a machine and it presses them all the same. So let's clean the file. I'm going to file this one. Taking the flat side. And there you go. Doesn't really matter about 21 being high because there's only one fret behind it, 22. So it's not going to affect anything. As long as 21 is level with the frets that come before it, 20, 19, 18, 17, so on and so forth. But let's have a little feel of that. There you go, we are, oh no, still high there. Still high in the middle. Clean the file. I know I didn't have flat side down there. Just working file 21. Once I start getting resistance, the resistance stops, I know I'm level with the frets around it. And that feels pretty good to me. Still a little high spot there. That feels good. That's feeling good. Go again. Check one back. And there you go, we have the frets level. I'm going to take a different coloured pen this time. I'm going to go red. I try to use my coloured pens evenly because that way they all run out at round about the same time. I'll probably use the black one the least, but the black one is a pen I like to save for my blackboard up on the wall there, or my whiteboard should I say. So I like to get the reds, the greens and the blues finished first, and then I can just stay with the black, and once the black's died I go and get a set of 4 more. So red, is there any particular reason for red? I don't know, I just like to do the radius in with the red one. So all in red, 400 grit on the radius beam, and we're going to basically I'm going to stand up for this because I need to keep this more or less level, nice and steady strokes. Try and go in one straight line. And let me show you. That certainly worked. I'm going to use that 7, 8 strokes. All the pen is removed. Going to check all of the frets. And the frets are leveled and radiused. That's both necks with level frets. We're going to get both necks taped up. We're going to go over, we're going to get them all taped up. We're going to come back, we're going to crown all of these frets. Then we're going to move over to the polishing table. But that, my friends, is both necks with level frets. Beautiful. Check this final few. And voila, all ready for crowning and polishing. We're going to move on. Okay, we have both necks taped up. We have the frets covered in marker pen. Blah 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 blah, and we're going to crown the frets. Crowning means where we've flattened the frets, we're going to put that crown back in, go in this way. Really simple to do with the new Stumac Z file I'll be using. What a great piece of kit this is. It's an order be for what it's cost. It's cost me £125, and that's buying it in Europe from Medinta, which is in Spain. The hardest thing about this file is getting it out of the pack. And there you go. And I'll explain how you'll see the cut there, one long, one short, and this will cut each side of the fret, but it will not cut the top. And it's just a matter of, I'm going to pick one fret, and I'm just going to glide across like so. And there you go, and you'll see on that one there's a very, very thin blue line down the centre. And I'm going to try and show you this working from this angle. I'll cut that way and then I'll cut this way. About 3 or 4 strokes following the radius. And it'll leave a beautiful thin line right down the centre. You can just see it. That way, with it not cutting the top, we know this height has been maintained. We already know that all of the frets are level with each other. Once I have used the Stumac file, I will go to my trusty profiling file. Something I don't know where I bought this. I think I bought it from Tele Luthier supplies a few years ago. And all I do is just to iron out any imperfections or any unevenness, I'll just glide across just a couple of swipes to remove any burrs, and there you go. And that is 2 frets recrowned. I will then take my fret rocker just to make sure that the frets have not lost any height, which they haven't. They are still level, and that is as difficult as that is. God bless new tools. This file, if you've been thinking about getting an original Z file from Stumac, no matter what it costs you, right, go and buy it. This makes my job 4 or 5 times quicker on these frets. I paid £125 for this, including there's no import tax because I bought it from Spain, a place called Madinter, M-A-D-I-N-T-E-R, madinter.com. Go there, buy the Z file, £125 delivered. Go and get one. I'm going to crack on, get all of these done, and once that's done, we're going to move on to the polishing. Show a recrowned neck or recrowned frets after 10 minutes with the Stumac Z file. I don't know if you can see, but look at the thin blue line down each fret. That's taken me less than 10 minutes to do all that. That would have taken me 30 minutes, 35 minutes before, using my old methods. So really, really pleased with this file. Can't recommend it enough. So during winter times, this is a camera angle we're going to have to get used to, because it's the only bench I have in the workshop that has a spotlight. And I predominantly put the spotlight up there so I could work at night, and this is more than enough light to work in. It's fantastic. It may not look so brilliant on camera, but trust me, there's a 2000, is it 2000 watt? I don't know what it is, LED spotlight up there. It doesn't blind me, but it's a really nice white light, and it's fantastic for working in. And that may not look fantastic on camera, it is fantastic for me to work in. And I'm going to be using this bench today. This is one of 3 benches I have in the workshop. The one you're most familiar with is my setup bench, which is near the window. This is on the side of the building. This is a bench I normally just use for fret leveling. I normally have my Stumac, well, that's not Stumac, but I built a Stumac type neck jig that normally goes on this bench. And the bench I've got directly behind me on the other side is one I use for refretting, but this one is doubling up. Now I'll put a cover on there. I can also use this for setups, I can use it for fret polishing. So this is basically, this bench now does all 3 jobs that I had on separate benches, and it's just great. And I'm using it today for polishing frets, and I don't need to fasten the neck anywhere. It's great. I just put a tea towel, an old tea towel underneath, just to catch any particles, any dust, and I'm going to polish the frets on this table. And now I'm going to polish the frets is, you know, I'm going to be using different grits of sandpaper because I have the neck covered in tape. And here you go, and we have 6 different grits of sandpaper, going from 600 grit through to 2000 grit. So we have 600, 800, 1000, 1200, 1500, 2000. Because this is not a refret, I don't need to roll over the beveled edges on here because they're already done. It's just a fret level. So the good thing about this is I can go straight on without rolling over the beveled edges, as stated. What I'm going to do first is, before I crack on with this, is I'm just going to remove the pen with some steel wool, finest grade steel wool. I'm going to remove the pen marks off the top of the frets, which will just mean, well, not for any reason really, it just makes it, I can see the frets more. Finest grade steel wool, super fine. It's grade 0000 for those of you that need to know. It's the finest grade of steel wool you can get. I don't mind using steel wool on frets, especially on removable necks, because you're not going to get anything in the pickles. If I ever do use it on a set neck or a glued in neck, I always cover the pickles with tape anyway. I don't really use steel wool that much. I kind of, once I've gone through with all the grits of paper, I tend to finish off with polishing rubbers now, which I'll show you in a minute. I bought a set of polishing rubbers from Crimson Guitars a few years ago, and I am not a great fan of polishing rubbers. I don't think we do anywhere near as good as using sandpaper and steel wool. Well, we probably do the job steel wool does, but they're nowhere near as good as using sandpaper. Just notice here on this end of the fret, it's not quite rounded over enough. I'm just going to get my Steelmatic Z file out again, and I'm just going to recrown that last fret. It does have a flat spot. Just a flat spot right on this side. It's just a little bit wider than it needs to be. Steelmatic Z file, my favourite crowning file. Only arrived this week. And there you go, that's nice now. So I've been over with Fret Rocker, checked all of these frets, they are level across the whole length. So we are going to polish. This file is not no longer needed. We're going to polish. I'm going to take the 600 grit, and all we really need to polish is the tops of these. We don't have to get into the corners as much, because like I say, it's not a refret, it's just a fret level and recrown. It's just a matter of taking the 600 grit first, polishing over the top of the fret, and what we're doing is, the scratches we're putting this way by filing, we're going to polish out using a finer grit every time. And it's just going to remove those scratches that way. It's going to remove all the scratches. And wet the back of your finger so the paper sticks to your finger, and there you go. It's just a matter of going over the fret. And we've got 22 frets times 6, which I believe is 132. So 132 polishers, and maybe I'll do 2 sets of rubbers, so another 44. So 176 polishers I have to do. And what this will do is, it will remove the scratches and it will bring the frets to a beautiful glass-like shine. It's going to take me a while. I have 2 necks to do. I'll be using this set of paper on this neck, and I'll be cutting some more sandpaper for the next one. So I have this Telecaster one on the bench now, and I have a strap one to do after this. So what I'll do is I'll probably get this one done. I'll start on the strap one, and I'll come back at the end of the strap one, and you'll get to see the result of all of this polishing. You can see I've just gone over 3. I have, what did I say, 176. There you go, I've got 170 plus left to do. That is going to take me a while, so I'll come back later and we'll see how we get on. Morning friends, it is Monday the 21st of October, year of our Lord 2019, and I've been up since, well, I was in this workshop before 6 this morning, and we have the necks all, well, not finished, but the frets are certainly polished. These are the 2 I've done. This is the Warmoth one I did last week, belongs to the same client, and these are the 2 Musikraft ones. I've just finished off the second, which is the Strat one. I finished the Telecaster one on Saturday. But look at these frets. Look at the shine and the polish there. They are beautiful. And this is the one I've just finished. And all 3 I've been through with 6 grits of sandpaper on each. That's the used sandpaper. Grits coming from 600 grit right through to 2000 grit. And I finished them off with polishing rubbers. I only used the fine and the super fine. These are from Crimson Guitars. I'm not a big fan of these rubbers. I don't think they're that good. I certainly wouldn't polish frets with them just using rubbers. But anyway, they do kind of work. Be great for when you're finished with sandpaper. It's just a matter of rubbing over and removing any marks that may have been left there. And these look fantastic. But you never really quite get how good the frets are until you've peeled off the tape. So I'm going to peel off the tape right now. and I put on the tape in 3 sections, and what I do is I put some tape underneath so I can just tear it up like so, and it makes it easy to get the edges of the frets up. Now these necks are all going to need cleaning because of the filings and the dirt that is associated with frets that comes off when you're polishing, but let's have a look here. And there you go, and you see now why I put tape underneath. It makes it just so much easier to get these off. And this is where you get to see how good the frets are, and this is why I put tape underneath. Look at that. It's like having a tear off strip. And again, this is why we put this strip along the length, because it makes it so much easier to remove the tape. This tape's been on for quite a while, and it does tend to get stickier the longer it's on there. But look at that. Now we've not finished these necks yet. I need to ream the tuner holes slightly more than they are. I need to re-drill them, and I need to fit the tuners. I'm going to do all this, it's all going to be on video, and once that's done, each of these necks is going to be fitted to my Telecaster body, and we're going to set the guitar up. And what we're going to do is we're going to cut the nut slots with the guitar set up properly, with the amount of relief in the neck. I might even just set them up with a completely straight neck, and that way we're going to have a really decent action above the first fret. I will put a tiniest bit of relief in there, not as much as I normally would do, just so I can cut the nut slots, and I can basically get the height of the strings above the first fret to where I need it to be. This means that when the guitars get back to Ben, or when the necks go back to Ben, he'll be able to fit them straight to his guitar bodies. He'll be able to set them up, and as long as he puts a little bit of relief, I would say about 0.2mm under the 9th or under the 8th and 9th fret, they will be set up superbly. We'll have the strings nice and low above the first fret. And I can explain more of that as I do it. It's going to make it a lot more easier for you to understand. But look at these frets. How wonderful do they look? So all 3 necks are done. This video is about these 2. These are the 2 Musikraft ones. I don't want to harp on too much about paying £300 for a neck. The frets should be level, but the thing is that they should be level. You shouldn't have to be paying me £100 to level, recrown and polish the frets on a brand new neck. Something maybe Musikraft and Warmoth and all these other Fender license neck builders need to look at, because these necks are expensive enough without having to pay someone to level the fret as soon as you've got it. But anyway, that's that. So I'm going to move on now. I'm going to move on to the next part, whereas this one's done. This is why I've left the Warmoth one on here. I did remount and drill the holes, re-drill the holes, and align these up straight and fitted these. And this is now ready to go on a body. We can get on there and we'll get the nut slots caught. This one needs a nut fitting, and this one will need the same. So we're going to move on. I'm going to get these drilled first. I'm going to move over to the other bench. I'm going to hand ream the tops and the bottoms of these. Then I'm going to drill through with an 8.5mm drill bit, and I'm going to fit the tuners. Then we're going to move on to fitting the nuts. Okay guys, I know the light is not very good, but it's the best we can get at this time of the morning. It is a little bit grim outside, but what we are doing is we're going to be fitting the new tuners, in this case Goto tuners, machine heads, whatever you want to call them, to the guitar. But first we must widen these holes because these bushings do not fit. So what I do is, in this case, I get the closest fitting drill bit, which in this case is a 9mm. I've got it just fitted to a vice grip, or as we call it over here, a mole grip. And we're just going to slightly ream open the openings, just the first 3 or 4mm. We're just going to get in there and we're just going to hand turn first few millimeters of these holes, and this should now just push in. It will be held tight. It should go all the way in, and there you go. I just need a little bit more. Let's just try it at a slightly different angle. Now we need to go a little bit deeper. I could take an 8.5 and just put it in at a slight angle and it would work the same. But I don't want to do that. And just see. And there we go. That's now all the way in. We're going to do the same with the last one. And I'm going to do the same with this strap neck. And then we're going to fit the machine heads. There you go. They're all in. Not difficult at all, is it? And that is now ready to fit the machine heads. What I'm going to do is, I'm going to get them all lined up. I'll move the camera in a moment so you can see what I'm doing. And I'll show you how to fit, let me get it. One way. And I'll show you how to fit the machine heads and get them lined up right. So to get these tuners lined up right, we're going to need a straight edge to get them where they need to be. And in this case, I use a 6-inch rule or a 6-inch ruler. In this case, a plastic one I've had for years. And what we'll do is just line it up. Once we drop them in, got them in the right order, going to line up the rule like so. Get it to where it needs to be, and we are going to tape it into position like so. And then we can mark where we're going to drill the holes. And I like where those are. It's good to me. And I'm just going to take, I could maybe take a bradawl and punch a hole in there, but what I like to do is, I like to dot a little pen mark on there, and I'm going to use, today I'm going to use a red one. Now this will clean up. With some white spirit. And what I'm going to do is, once I mark these up like so, I will then put a little mark in there with a pointer. It could be a bradawl, it can be a solder iron thingy-madoofus like so. And I'm just going to put a little mark in there. I know where I'm going to drill the hole, and I will drill to a depth of the screw minus a millimetre, because that way I'll have the depth just right. And there you go. I'll put a little mark on there. Now I'm going to take some white spirit, and if it doesn't disappear, it's no big deal, but let's have a look, see where we are. And that, my friends, is how you mark up for drilling the holes for the tuners. And what I'll do is I'll put these back in just to check that the holes are where I need them to be first. Measure twice, cut once. And I'm going to fit a 2mm drill bit to a drill. I'm going to insert it to the depth of the thread of the screws. And I'll find them. Alright, don't know what that is, that came with them. What's that all about? No idea. Here are the screws, I'll crack on with that. And once that's done, we'll get these fitted and we can move on to the nut. Now the strap neck already has a nut fitted, but the Tele neck doesn't. So what the client has gone for is a Tusk nut, Tusk XL, Tusk TUSQ, being basically a man-made derivative or a man-made version of ivory. The thing is with these, as great as they are, and they're made in Canada by the way, my wife's Canadian. But anyway, made in Canada. The thing is with these, they are not just a drop-in replacement. You do have to work them to get them to fit. Like this one, for instance, is wider than the slot. So what am I going to do? I'm going to widen the slot on the guitar, or am I going to make this thinner. I'm obviously going to make this thinner. I'm not going to be altering the wood on the guitar at all. So what I need to do with this is, well, a couple of things. If you look at the thing, there's a bit of a burr there that needs removing, but it gives you an option. You can either go with a curved section for a curved neck, or it's got a little extra there so you can mount it in a flat. I think this is a flat one. In fact, I'm pretty sure it's a flat one. So what I'm going to do is I am just going to basically thin this by get a piece of sandpaper on a flat edge and face down. I'm going to rub it until we get the thickness right. I'll be rubbing off all the decals on there because I like to take it off from this side, not the back side, because that back side needs to be precision straight because it goes closest to the fingerboard here. So I'll be removing all this gubbins, and I'll be doing a little at a time. I could do it on my, in fact it might be a great idea to do it on my precision straight edge, which is for fret leveling, and this is ideal for doing this kind of job. So I'm going to just basically, it might be a bit better to go with some more coarse sandpaper. This is 240 grit, or at least with some fresh sandpaper, but I'm going to keep doing this until it's thin enough to stick on the guitar. And don't worry about it getting dirty and being tarnished there, because I will clean it up before I put it on the guitar. I'm going to go with some fresh sandpaper, I think, because this is going to take me forever just doing it like this. Well, then again, let's see how we go. And that's the thing, you see, there's nothing about fretwork and neckwork that is quick and easy. You know, there's more than just sticking things in. That's nowhere near. So I'm going to get some more coarse, sandpaper. I'll stick it onto this edge. I may even stick it onto the back of a radius beam like so. Get some fresh sandpaper on there. I've got loads of the stuff. I've got some good, I've got some here. This is pretty coarse. I think this is 180. This will be a lot better. See what I've got. See if I've got a spare small piece. Doesn't seem like it. We'll go with a piece of that. I'll do need ducks. I will cut a piece off. Cut a small piece off there like so. And this should be good. And just try and keep it nice and even. Probably better if I double sticky taped that onto there, but let's see. There we are, we're getting closer. So this is how I'm going to go on. Still not there yet. So I'm going to crack on with this. I'm going to stop filming for a couple of minutes just while I get this done. And once I've got it to the thickness I need it to be, we'll get it all fitted. It was certainly not a flat base, so we've gone with the curve. Also, the edges, see how abrupt the edges are there? It's more or less vertical. We round over this way just to make it look just more curvy. That follows the curve of the edge of the neck. Now we need to do the same with this side because it's going vertically up. I think that looks a little bit weird, so I'm going to just whiz over. In fact, I'm going to whiz over anyway to show you quickly how we do that. And you have to be careful, don't take too much, but again, just round over. Just keep checking your work. It's quite easy to mess these up. Just keep checking as you go. And that is looking a lot better. I'll show you in a minute. And we're very close to where we need to be now. But can you see how we've rounded over this side and rounded over this side? And what I'm going to do with this is, because there's going to be a small gap underneath where it's now curved, I'm actually going to fill this with some epoxy. I'm going to epoxy this in. So I'm going to tape up the side so any spillage we get doesn't go on the wood of the guitar. And we're going to have a nice rounded nut in there. That looks really quite good. That side's not quite right yet. And that is looking the part now. Let's see where we are right now. Need to clean this up, but that is more or less exactly where we need to be. The slots are still too high. That's great, because when we've got the strings on, I'm going to cut into these, we're going to cut deeper, and we're going to polish this nut up. What I'm going to do now is, I'm going to get some more finer, get some finer sandpaper, clean it up, and I'm going to epoxy this in. What I'm going to do is, I'm going to tape the sides. So any spillage or anything we get come out of there, we're going to wipe off straight away. Now what I'm going to do is, I'm going to take some Scotch 3M tape. I do not want to be getting glue on the neck of the guitar, so what I'm going to do is, I'm going to tape up the edges. Like so. Not just the edges, I'm also going to tape up a bit messy bit. Get rid of that, throw that in a minute. That's ready spillage. I'm going to take care of that. Any spillage we can wipe it up straight away. What we're going to do is tape over the edges. There you go, how's that? There you go. So what we're going to do is we're going to actually drop the nut in that slot. I'm just going to bring this up a little bit closer. So we've masked everything off. Like so. I'm going to drop some epoxy in there, and then we are going to drop the nut in. If it will go in. There you go, and that's going to hold it nice and steady. These edges of the tape will hold it steady in there, and we'll let the epoxy dry naturally. So I'm going to mix it a little up right now. I'm going to do it live. We'll crack on and get it done right now. Any spillage we get, we can wipe straight up. Take an old business card, if I can find one, there you go. Oh, I can use this. That's perfect. So good. A little bit of epoxy. That is hardener. And here's the resin. What I need to do is hardener and resin. I'm going to mix that in a second. Before I do that, I'm going to put a tiny bit of tape over where the truss rod is. Otherwise, we're going to glue the truss rod. We don't want to do that. Now, I don't know what's happened to my 3mm tape, so let's try and cut a piece of this 6mm in half. And what I could do is just put a sliver of paper in there. In fact, that is exactly what I'm going to do. just to protect the truss rod. I'm going to go 3mm. Take a tiny piece of paper in the slot. The arc of the nut is going to miss that. I need that to go flat. Go flat, you swine. Doesn't want to go flat, does it? I'm saying yes, it does. There you go. That's great. Right. So I do have a proper little. There you go. So we've got more glue in there than we're going to need. Of course, the tape is now caved in on this side. And that knot is exactly where it needs to be. Just going to grab some kitchen roll, kitchen paper, just to tidy up and clean up the excess glue. We do not need a build-up of glue anywhere. So some 30-minute epoxy, which we're going to let sit. Just going to let that sit for a little while. I could stick a clamp on there. I may just go and stick a clamp on there anyway. That's exactly what I'm going to do. Now I know we'll need a business card for underneath. One business card, clamp. Is that going to work? That's going to work fine. Hoping this clamp's going to be the right size. Is that going to work? May just be big enough, this clamp. Let's go this side. That's big enough. Awkward to do with one hand, but we'll get there. Make sure we're centred, and we are. You see how I've got that business card under this, so we're not going to mark the neck from underneath. We don't need to do it tight, we just need to have it in there. And there you go, that is good. That is going to hold. That's just that piece of wood cracking in half there, look. Not the neck. Don't panic. And there you go. That is going to hold. Make sure we are squared up with that knot. Feels good. It's got to be now because it's in. And when we're getting it back out, could always have a look, couldn't I? It is imperative that we get this square. So I'm just going to have a sneak peek, because if it's not, I can still adjust it. Got 15-20 minutes to adjust it. That's beautiful, that's perfect. Right, there you go. Gonna leave that. I'm gonna leave that for an hour or whatever. And we'll come back and we'll sort everything out later. Well, this is a bit of a downer because I've just fitted the Strat neck to my own Telecaster body so I can cut the nut slots, and I've just noticed this. And look at the nut, and that is not seated correctly. And this came with the nut already installed, but it's not seated right, so that nut has to come off. So that's a pain in the butt because that's going to take me, I'm going to take that off, I'm going to file it down, reshape it and stick it back in. And the thing is, with removing nuts, they don't always come out nicely. I'm going to just try and get a screwdriver underneath into that slot and just see. That's popped straight out. So that needs refitting. I will not be doing this for nothing. I'll be charging for this. So let me just move the camera and just see where we are. Luckily I've just popped it out and it's gone out pretty easily. But there's a burr on there. I need to remove that. I will use a fret pulling or a fret cutter. That should just bring that off nice and flush. A little bit of sandpaper on there, we should be okay. Let's go over to this bench. I've got some sandpaper on there. Okay, that's not so bad. That nut doesn't fit. That nut doesn't fit. It needs filing flat. So as I did on the other nut a few minutes ago, I'm going to have to do with this. So let me get that sorted out. We'll get it fitted, and we'll come back and we'll get it done proper. Always restrictions. Okay, so the nut was really nothing to sort out, so it's not going to be an extra charge. All I needed to do was remove the tab from the centre. That was why I was lifting up on this side. It wasn't a perfectly flat base. So we have, I didn't have to, that's a lie. I didn't have to remove the tab from the centre. I had to just make the nut thinner. So all I did was took some tape and a precision straight edge and just filed the nut flatter, just make it thinner. And we got it straight back in, it's super glued in. It took me 5 minutes. So what we need to do now is, with the Strat neck, I know it's a Strat neck and this is a Telecaster, but it's the same scale length. It does just fit, well, it fits perfectly, scale length is right. And what we're going to do now is I've got strings on, I've not stretched them in yet, but I've got the guitar tuned to pitch more or less. It's very close, and what we're going to do is I've realised that the action is too low. That means this neck's probably a bit thicker at this end. So what we're going to do is we're going to adjust the saddles at this end. I'm going to sort the radius out at this end. Once that's done, and I've got the height right at the 12th fret, then we can look at cutting these nut slots. Now I've already checked the nut slots. These two are actually fine. The ones in the middle aren't too bad. We just need to cut these three really. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to get the action to 1.75 at the 12th fret. Now I've been across with a not straight edge. The neck was straight when I put it on the guitar. With the string tension now, it's put just about enough relief in there. I would be looking for, and because I'm English, British, right, we do millimetres and centimetres over here. We don't do inches like the Americans. So I'd be looking for a measurement of 0.2 millimetres underneath, between the 8th and 9th fret. And there you go, 0.2 in that area. So that's the amount of relief I want. So now I'm looking for an action of about 1.75 millimetres at the 12th fret. That's between the top of the fret and the bottom of the string. So 1.75 mil, I shall have a look. And we are about 1.65. I'm going to take the correct Allen key for the job, which is a 1/16, it being an imperial size, but being as this guitar is American. So I'm just going to set, what I'm going to do is I'm going to set the two outside strings. So the 1st and the 6th. We're still under 1.75. And I'm going to do this 3 times. All being well, I can do it all with the 1 set of strings. And it means, because Ben sent 3 sets of strings, it means I can send him some strings back. What I am going to do is I'm going to take a set for myself. I'm going to send a set back. Because I'm short on strings, and I'm sure Ben won't begrudge me a set of strings. So anyway, here we go. 1.75 at the 12th fret on the 6th string. Happy with that. No fretboards. That's beautiful. So we're going from 1.5 mil on the 1st string. So let's have a look, see where we are. We are, my goodness, we are well under 1 millimetre. So a little bit of work to do there. We're loosening the string, I don't want to snap anything. Can I just show you something, by the way? How good does a Telecaster look with a strap neck? Does that look any good to anyone? I quite like it. Anyway, let's bring this action up. I'm thinking this neck's probably thicker than my Telecaster neck at the heel end, because these saddles are set perfectly for my Telecaster. So I think we're a bit thicker at this end. But anyway, let's have a look, see where we are. Nowhere near 1.5 millimetres yet. And what we're going to do is, when we've got the 2 outside strings set, we're going to radius all the middle ones. And I'll explain more about that in a moment. Okay, we're going to be about there with that, because we don't have much adjustment left. Where are we? Where are we? Right, there you go. We are just slightly over 1.5. I'm happy with that. I did say to Ben that I will err on the side of caution when it comes to setting up this guitar, because I don't want to cut these nut slots too deep. This is a problem with when you send me a neck and not the body. I'm having to use my body, and it shouldn't make a difference, but it possibly could. So what we're going to do now is loosen the 4 strings in the middle. These 2 strings are set. We're set above the 12th fret on the 1st string and the 6th string. 1.5 mil, 1.75. So now what we need to do is, I need to take each string in the middle higher than it needs to be, because what I'm going to do is I'm going to set the radius to match the neck, and then we're going to match it at the nut end. And this is how we set the guitar up. And what we're ideally looking for is a matched radius down the whole length of the neck. Assuming that the neck itself is radiused correctly. Well, I know it's radiused correctly because I've leveled the frets and re-radiused them. So we know that that's all good down the neck itself. What we need to do now is set it all up on the bridge. And blah, 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 blah. So this should just be, when Ben gets his necks back, he should be able to just stick them on his bodies, and they're going to be perfect. They're going to fit correctly. So now I've gone higher than I need to. Now I'm going to explain about the radius. So the radius is this arc going this way over the neck. This is a 9.5 inch radius, or it better be. It's sure it is a 9.5 inch radius. I'll just check anyway. I've checked before. 9.5 inch radius, and what we need to do is we need to match this radius at the nut and at the saddles. We do the nut last, we're going to do the saddles next. So we know the radius is 9.5, we know it's the frets are alright, they're level, and the radius to 9.5 inches. So now we're going to take the radius gauge and we're going to place it under the strings. And what we're going to do is, because we've got both outside strings set, what we then need to do, we need to set the 4 middle strings, and they're all a little bit too low still. So what we're going to do is we're going to bring them a little bit higher. And what I want to do is have these above the radius gauge, and then we're going to drop them back down onto the radius gauge, and it means the radius will be perfect at this end of the guitar. I want not to go this high when I'm doing the Telecaster necks. Right, let's see where we are. Right, and that's now great. So what we need to do is, there you go. Now all of these strings are higher than we need to be. So what we're going to do is, because the 2 outside strings are perfect, we're going to drop each of these strings down on the top to the top of the radius gauge, and it'll mean that the radius matches the neck. So I'm just going to turn it back a little. We'll drop each string onto the top of the radius gauge like so, and that is perfect. And then we can go and cut the nut. This, my friends, is the radius set at the bridge. Now all of the strings are resting on the top of this radius gauge, so we now have a radius matching there, and we now need to do it at the nut. Now let's just get it back into tune, or close to tune. So I need to bring this neck of the guitar, the strings, up to tension. Right, so now we have the strings to tension. I'm going to check the height again. Above the 12th fret, 1.7, it's about 1.78 actually, and that's just a tiny bit over 1.5, a tiny bit over 1.75. Now that is done, I can now cut the nut slots to the right depth. So I'm just going to move the camera again. There you go. I'm just going to zoom in a little. So we now have a radius set at the bridge end of the guitar. The radius is set across all of the frets. We now need to do the same at the nut. Once we've got these nut slots cut, then the neck is ready to go back to the owner and to be fitted to his guitar. So I'm going to take the feeler gauge again. And this is how I measure it, and I am looking for a height of above the first fret, first string. I'm normally going 0.2 there, about 0.3, 0.35 here, then we just go gradually up. But because I'm erring on the side of caution, I'm going to be looking for a measurement of about 0.2, 0.25 on the first string. And with the gauge set at 0.2, just check that that is an E. It's close enough. That's already very low, so I'm not touching that. And that is how the nut slot was cut with the nut fitted. So let's check the B. B is a little bit high. I just want that to be ringing, so I'm going to take the B. Now this is a 1046 set, so I need a 13 for the second string. So I'm just going to pull that string over. I'm going to take I've got my Hosco nut slot files. I'm going to take the 13 side. This cuts a perfect groove. It doesn't cut flat, it cuts a groove, and I'm just going to carve in, angling slightly back, very, very slightly, just we know we've cut because the note went flat. Just ringing, so that's good enough for me. Next one, the G string. That's just ringing, so that's good enough for me. But what I am going to do is on each string, including the first one, is I'm just going to make sure that these slots are wide enough, because these are normally cut for a 942 set and the strings were going with the 1046s. So I'm going to take the 17 size and I'm just going to flare open. I'm not going to cut any depth, I'm not going to make it any deeper, I'm just going to flare it open. And that's as much as I'm going to do, just so I know that the string fits in there. That's ringing a bit, it's a little bit satari. I would say that string's probably just sticking in there a little bit. So let's get the 13 back and we're going to flare open this one just ever so slightly. Not cutting it deeper, we're cutting it wider. That is ringing. That is how that nut was cut from the shop. I don't like that at all. Not happy with that at all. I'm just going to make sure that's level. That should not be ringing. No, it isn't. The last one, or the first one should I say, which is a 10. We'll take the 10 and I'm just going to flare this open again as well. Make sure we're on the 10 side, not the 26. We don't want to make it any deeper. Now the D, I'm going to be looking for a measurement of about 0.25. What have I done with that feeler gauge? It's right in front of me, look. So I'm going to swap up to a 0.25. And we're missing by a fair bit, so we're going to cut that slot a little bit deeper. That will be a 26 or 0.026. So we're going to basically flare it, open a little bit wider, and make it just a tiny bit deeper, like so. Still not deep enough, we've got a little bit more. Quite there yet. Just little bits. Don't want to go gung ho. Cut these slots too deep. You'll be taking this nut out, fitting another one and recutting it. And I don't have any in stock. That's why I measure many times and cut many times. Close enough for me. And the next two, well, the next one, I'm going to check 0.25 here. Certainly needs to be cut deeper. So we're going to go with the 36. I know to go a fair bit here, so I'm just going to go in, cut a little bit of depth, flare it open just a little. A little bit too high. Okay, that's 0.25. Let's try with 0.3. If it's not buzzing on the 0.3, I need to go a little bit deeper. Now we need to go a little bit deeper. What we're going to do is we're going to take this E string off. We're going to bring this over there. I'm going to steal that slot for a moment. So, just checking I'm angling back ever so slightly. Perfect. And the last one, the E string, 0.3 again. Quite a bit high. We're going to take the 0.47 or 0.04, sorry, 0.46, 1046 set. And we're just going to, if it doesn't go forwards, come backwards. So we need to be able to carve both ways. There you go. Let the file do the work. I'm not pressing. Still go deeper. And I've erred ever so slightly on the side of caution. So when Ben gets this, he's not going to buzz or anything. He could possibly go 0.01 of a millimetre less or 0.01 of an inch less on these, but we're still going to get perfect tuning. We're going to be high enough but low enough above the first fret. Just rattling. So that is it. That is the first of the necks done. I have two more to do. I know this video is just about the two Musikraft necks, but I did a Warmoth one early before I did the Musikraft ones. All three belong to Ben. They're all going to be set up on this guitar. This one is finished, it's ready to go, so that will be pleasing and that will be music to Ben's ears. I'm not going to ship them tomorrow because this is taking me longer than I thought it would. I expected it to be done by lunchtime and it's getting on for 2 p.m. It's going to be about 4 o'clock before I get these done, so I'm not going to organise a courier today. I'll organise one for collection on Wednesday. But this neck is done. It's a Musikraft Stratocaster neck. It costs around about £300. Ben has had to pay me some extra money to get these frets levelled, recrowned and polished and to fit a nut. I have not really charged for fitting the nut. For a fret recrown, a fret level and recrown and polish with a setup is normally £100. So because I'm doing the setup as well, it's what I've charged. It just happens I've used one of my own guitar bodies, so it's been a little bit of extra work. Not too bothered about that. You know, these frets look superb. I'm really pleased with how they come out. But what I'm going to do is now I'm going to take these strings back off. I'm going to get my next neck on here. I'm probably not going to film that. There's no point in filming both of them. And I'm going to get the other Warmoth neck I did as well on here. Get them all set up, and we'll come back and we'll finish this video off. And we can get these necks all packed up and we can go back to Ben and he can have some fun building some new guitars. And there we are now, right at the end of where we need to be, and we are just finishing shaping the nut. Now the slots have been cut. This is the Tele neck. And we're just about there. I'm just going to finish off the slots. They're already cut to depth. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to get, I've got like a welder's tool here. It's just small, very small files. And we're just going to go in and we're just going to clean up these slots. I'll keep swapping over till we get one the right thickness. This is it, just final shaping now. I've been all day on these three guitars, these three necks. Well, this video is about the two Musikraft ones, but there's still the Warmoth one to finish off as well. So that they've all been done today. They've all been on my Telecaster body. All have been nuts recut. And I'm just about to finish off. I'm just finishing off the nuts on each of them. finicky little job, but it'll make it look so much better. So what I like to do, just to finish off, is just go in with a Stanley blade and just make sure there are no burrs left in there. If there are, we're just going to scrape them off. One final job, just to grab some masking tape, either side of a nut, like so. Take a flat file, get right in there. Get a flat edge file, like so, and just remove any burrs that we've got or any overhang, anything overhanging. And that is the nut finished. Just checking that we have a nice round over the top there. I'm happy with all of that. That will do me. I wish I had a little brush, but I don't, so got a little bit of white spirit on this cloth. And that is that nut finished. I'll do exactly the same for the nuts on the other necks. And we can tie this video up. That neck is now ready to be shipped back to its owner. See where we are. There you go. One nut fitted. And one neck finished. I will give the frets a final wipe. And that is the work on this one done. Beautiful. And here we are, all done. And I actually have 3 necks on the bench at the moment because they all belong to the same client. And I'll show you the 2 of the Musikraft ones, which are the strap one and the Telecaster one. Both by Musikraft. Now the big shame about these is they're £300 each, these necks. And the guys had to come and pay me £100 each to level the frets, recrown and polish them. Not only that, I've also installed and cut the nuts and installed the tuners. So I've done a little bit more than that, but you shouldn't need fret level on a brand new neck, but you do. And the reason I bought, we are 3 on here, the reason I bought the other one in is this is a Warmoth one, and this is one I did in a separate video, but they all belong to the same guy. They've all had the same amount of work, we've all had a fret level, recrown, polish, we've all had a nut cut, and we've all had tuners installed. So I'm just going to show, put the Warmoth one back, I'm just going to show the Musikraft ones. And there is the Telecaster one. Isn't that beautiful? Rolled edges on this one. Brand new nut. I've fitted that nut today. Hand carved, nice and low. Goto tuners on each as well. Same with this one. This one, the nut was installed. I had to take it off and reinstall it, not charge for that. Frets again, crowned and polished, brand new tuners, Goto. Fantastic. So these 2 are tied up. That is the end of this project. It's been a fun project. We've certainly had more work in them than I first thought. I stuck to my price that I quoted, which is fine. These are now ready to go. The guy's already paid me, so I'm going to order a courier. These will be going out Wednesday, not tomorrow, because I want them to sit a night just so I can check them over again before they go. But they look, all 3 of them look fantastic. So just before I do go, I'm going to remind you of my websites. Facebook's the best place to go and find anything out about me. Facebook.com/NG17. That's Facebook.com/NGONESEVEN. My name is Victor. I am your fret friend. Oh, there's also fretfriend.co.uk. But like I say, I'm Victor. I am your fret friend. And until next time, boys and girls, as always, God bless you, be good to each other, and I'll see you next time.